Hello, 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 and welcome. Thank you so much for being here. This is Her Talk Show. We have an amazing panel put together today. We are diving deep into some amazing conversations. We're getting into a conversation that almost every person who shows up online faces, and that is the trolls online when you're a business owner. I know this is like the most scariest thing, especially they're just so scared that somebody's going to be trolling their videos. And what do I do? And what do I say? The criticism, the negativity. And just what that means, right? What that means. We're going to be talking a lot about mindset, how we have overcome that, how we deal with situations like that, and kind of help you view things a little bit differently. We're also going to be talking about why that happens, and what it actually says about the person doing the attack. Next is we're going to be exploring something many of us very rarely stop to think about, and that is what would happen if the internet disappeared. I just love this topic. I think this is a great topic. I'm so happy that Debbie brought this up, because you're right. Like, how often do you think about that? Whenever I think about not having the internet, I'm just thinking of a zombie apocalypse. It's not for health. It's just like, what if the internet went down? Oh my, totally different mindset than what Debbie's bringing to us here. So super excited to dive into that. And then finally, we're going to dig into the importance of community, not only business-wise, but also personal-wise. So many people are trying to build businesses and navigate life completely on their own. But as humans, I now believe more than ever before, we were designed to be in community. We were not designed to operate in isolation. So today's conversation is really about perspective, resilience, and remembering that none of us are meant to be alone. So super excited to dive in with these ladies here. Also a reminder, Emily Tusoni, who's actually with us today. We are running a all women's business retreat April 23rd through the 26th of this year. We are so excited. Very, very little time left to register. So get in and let us know if you have any questions. Actually, Emily, we're also running an infomercial. Do you want to mention the date and time for the infomercial?
Yeah, we're going to do a call on Zoom this Thursday, March 12th, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, to answer your questions and give you a sneak peek at the curriculum. If you can't make it live, it'll be recorded. So if that's of interest, we'll put the link for you to get registered for that, or you can message Sabrina and I, and we'll get you hooked up for that.
Absolutely. So if you're a woman business owner looking to get your business to the next level, you are going to want to join us. All right, ladies, let's jump in. All right, we already have live listeners. Thank you so much for being here, hanging out with us. If you are listening to us live, do know that you can comment in the comment section wherever you're listening to us at. It actually pops up on our side, and you can actually talk to us live. So if that interests you, please feel free to do that. We are speaking to women entrepreneurs, first generation trailblazers. We are here every Monday at 3 p.m. So block that off on your calendar. Great time to sit down and chat with us, especially if you're on the West Coast, right? That's probably around noon, around lunchtime. And you can actually be watching us while you're eating your sandwich. We talk about topics that are shaping our entrepreneurial journeys as women, because our journeys are different than the men's journeys. So it's important for us to be highlighting that and making sure that we're bringing women here to you to help you empower yourself to make smarter and bolder decisions for your business. How are the ladies? We got Debbie Ropo, my co-host, who's here every single week with me. We have Kaylee Kennedy, and we have Miss Emily Tusoni, all women business owners, all looking to have a great conversation today. Yeah, let's dive in. The very first video that I'm going to be sharing, which, by the way, I haven't even tried this yet. Usually I test this out. This is the first time I haven't tested this out, so bear with me. Let's see if I can do it on the whim here. Oh, look how good she is. Oh, she's so good. All right, first video. Let me just play it. I'm not even going to give it an intro. Let me just play it. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear it.
Here's to understand this. I'll give it to you in 30 seconds. If nobody sees you as an enemy, you're not important. If nobody talks about you behind your back, you're not relevant. If someone tries to take advantage of you, it's because you have value. It's a compliment. If someone tries to put you down, it just means you're already above them. Hate only comes from below, never from above. When they doubt you, it's because you're doing great things that they think are impossible to do themselves or gave up on themselves. And criticism, that's just admiration in disguise. Your haters are actually your biggest fans. They watch everything and say nothing. It took me 15 years to understand this.
Oh, I just love it. The reason I love it is because, well, obviously, but also because this is a thing. This is a thing that so many deep down inside. What if somebody says something mean to me? What's going to happen if somebody doesn't agree with me? I just posted something recently, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, that was a little risque. And it had a little bit of commentary on it as far as some mixed feelings on what I wrote. And I dropped into my stories, or maybe I did a live around the conversation of like, nobody died. Like nobody died. Everything's fine. And I think what's also important is I did take some time to actually respond to the women that had some different viewpoint than I, or maybe didn't quite understand what I was saying. But you also don't have to respond. I think that's another thing that I'd like to. Sometimes we think we're going to get hate, and then what am I going to say? And then like, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to say anything. You can literally just leave them hanging if you want to. That's also a thing. You can also delete. Delete is also an option. So anyways, I'd love to kind of get your viewpoint on this. There's actually more than just that was covered. You know, there's a lot of stuff that was covered in there as far as stuff that he said, some really good, just key takeaways on social media and how people are viewing us, whether it's articles we're writing, newsletters we're writing, videos, posting that we're doing, or just thoughts of how to run a business, right? Thoughts of how to, how we're doing our thing that's different than the way some people are. So would love your initial thoughts, your initial takeaways on this one. Kaylee, you're already unmuted. Are you ready?
Awesome. I was born ready.
Yes. Whoa, this is why we love you on the podcast.
Well, I love this topic because I'm a mindset coach. So I want to come from this as like a mindset perspective specifically. And it really is like building up your own self-confidence to be able to handle the trolls, right? Like when you were talking, my inner dialogue was like, oh, if someone trolls me, like, so what? Like, who cares? Like, that was my first thing. Now, that wasn't how I used to be when I first started this business. I did care. I deeply cared about someone having a difference of opinion and someone having, like questioning me or questioning my beliefs or questioning my opinions, because I didn't quite have that self-confidence to like own what I was saying yet. So it's really interesting because I almost look at it as a gift to see if you get impacted by the thought of someone pushing or trolling you or having a negative comment. It's a gift to know that you get to work on your self-confidence and your ownership of your voice. Absolutely. So almost shift that perspective around is like, that's a gift to know that. And now that doesn't mean that like it doesn't hurt you or it doesn't impact you right away, but you can start to change your perspective of what that means and what gifts that gets to give you. For you to build yourself up, because we live in a world where we get to celebrate everyone's difference of opinions and get to learn so many different ideas and things. But, I think when we get so divided, sometimes it's hard to be able to accept and understand other people's perspectives. And we get in our own head too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely some key subjects that are a little more touchy than others. Debbie.
Yeah, there's a couple things. One is if someone just is being mean, I mean, just outright cruel, it's a situation that they have. This is absolutely nothing to do with you. It's them. And so you can feel that piece, at least now. And like Kaylee said, before, when I'm younger, of course, that would have made me cry. But now I know what it is. And the other thing is I love non-binary thinking. right? So when it's not just one way of thought process, I love hearing outside perspectives. I love when someone says something that's out there and I'm like, what? I never even thought that way. Even if I don't agree with it, at least I can see another perspective. And I think it's huge for business women to look at what other people are thinking. And Emily taught me something recently about this because we were having a similar conversation on this panel earlier, another episode. And I said that I would unfollow people that were rude or mean. And Emily was like, hey, man, it's great for the algorithm. Keep them going. Right. So now I'm like, oh, that's okay. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's a win-win kind of a situation. But I think having that piece where it's okay to have outside perspective. And then if someone's just an asshole, then it's okay to say that's their problem, not mine.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I was first adjusting to the trolling and understand that people don't always, one of the things that I would write instead of arguing and get into this whole thing, I would just write, thank you for helping my algorithm. I would literally just meet them with that. Just like, thank you for helping my algorithm. Thank you for keeping me on top. Thank you for boosting this post. And just like show up with so much gratitude with anything that they said. Emily.
So all the things that have already been mentioned. And I think a perspective I like to take is we worry so much about the haters or the trolls that might come out of the woodwork when we share a perspective or a strong stance or belief or whatever. And we forget how magnetizing that can be for the right audience. Yep. How that might offend or push some people to the side, but it will magnetize an entire group of people to us when we are speaking from our perspective, speaking from the values that we hold. One example, actually recently, there's a bakery here in town. So I'm in Helena, Montana, that I love. I love the owner. I love everything about it. And she makes cookies and like writes kind of ruffle your feathers type stuff on them. And she did one last week that was a little political and posted it on her Instagram and Facebook. And it went viral. And there were so many people saying, I will never support you again, giving her tons of bad reviews. But the amount of people that stepped forward into the comments and said, I will support your business. I'm going to drive to Helena from Missoula. I'm going to drive to Helena from Bozeman. Can I order online? How do I support your business? The influx was so much that they sold out of everything for like the past 5 days. She's literally not even going to open on Wednesday because she's out completely of like powdered sugar to make. So and I told her this, I went in there yesterday. I was like, I'm going to use you as an example when I teach later this month on how to increase engagement, on how to stand up in your content for what you really believe and the expertise you have and the perspective of your own in a way that might ruffle feathers because it magnetizes the right people to you. And then those haters, those trolls, literally it's just fodder for the algorithm. Great. Awesome. Thanks for being here. And again, like was mentioned, you don't have to respond. You can respond. Like you mentioned, Sabrina, in the post you put up, I thought it was wonderful you responded because most of the people who commented know you personally through your community. And taking the time to have those conversations is so important. But if it's somebody you don't know, if it's like some troller, some hater who's just being nasty, you can literally say, thanks so much for the boost.
Yeah.
You know, I hope happiness finds you, which can sometimes be more of a poke for them, but it doesn't matter because that's not on you. You have magnetized your people to you.
Yeah. This almost makes me a little emotional. Just the fear that we have versus what we're missing out on. And I can say that from personal experience now, just because of this little thing that just recently happened, because the polarizing, exactly what Emily said, people dropping into my DMs privately, just being like, I fucking agree with you. I fucking agree with that. I'm down with that. Even Emily Rodenslow in our mastermind this morning was like, dude, that post that you wrote kicked me in the booty. And because of that, she created this whole new way of like getting business in and already launched it. in like a week and a half or however long it's been. So yes, will it repel? Yeah. And will it get people to see you differently in a not so good light because they have you, but then also will it pull people towards you? Absolutely. So I love that. Definitely something that we should always stepping into as women business owners is our own opinion. Now, there's a difference between like ruffling feathers, right? To ruffle feathers, and then also just standing in your truth. Also just standing in your truth, right? So we're not here saying like go out and ruffle feathers intentionally. No, we're just saying stand in your truth, whatever that is. There was a few other things that he said that I would love to kind of get your input on. He said, if no one sees you as an enemy, you're not important. I feel like that's one that might ruffle a few feathers. I'm just kind of curious how that hit you. Do you agree? Do you disagree? It's pretty like exactly what we're talking about. Hard stance. If you don't have any enemies, you're not important. I tend to agree with that. Although I don't know, like actual enemies. It's a harsh word. I don't know, Kaylee.
I think like let's even change the word to just something else. If you're, because everyone's allowed a difference of opinion, right? We're all, that's our gift. We have that choice. And if you have become so visible that you are getting in front of people who have that difference of opinion, that is a gift. Like that's awesome. That means you're getting out there. You are sharing and standing in your truth more and more and more. And I find, a lot of women, especially I used to be like really like shrink myself to fit into spaces or shrink my voice to, not ruffle feathers. Or I say this to my clients all the time. It's like, what are you tolerating just to keep the peace? Like, what are you tolerating in your life or your business just to keep the peace? Because, because confrontation is hard and blah, 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 whatever. But if you are that state where you have reached that many people, that so many people have heard your message that they can disagree with you, that means like you're working, you're getting out there, you're being seen. And if that many people are disagreeing with your message, just like Emily said before, there's probably even more people who are resonating with it. Just, I find the people who resonate don't necessarily speak up as much as the people who don't resonate with it. And it's this whole like keyboard warrior thing that we live in. Like back before social media, people didn't have the courage to speak their mind or to troll out, or like now it's too easy because we can hide behind our laptops. We can even, in groups, you can even like anonymously comment. So people don't even know who you are when you troll now. So, remembering these things too, it's actually like, hey, I'm visible enough. Like my Instagram got replicated a while ago. Someone was, pretending to be me and trying to sell something. And I was like, does that mean I've made it? Because someone like sees my profile and they want to be me. Like, I've made it. Yeah. Like, this is awesome. So it's just a change of perspective. Yeah.
I love that actually. And I would say, yes, girl, that means you made it. Absolutely. I really like what Catherine said here. There's a difference between being needlessly inflammatory. That's exactly what I was trying to say. Catherine writes, she's a writer, she's an author. So she just articulated that perfectly for me. Thank you, Catherine, for watching out for me. That's exactly what I was trying to say. There's a difference between being needlessly inflammatory versus standing on business. I could not have said that better myself, obviously. Anybody else?
Yeah. In the healthcare field, what'll happen with me sometimes is I feel I need to speak about what happens if you don't take care of yourself. Okay. Right. And I will get your fear mongering, your body shaming, because you're talking about, that losing weight and it's interesting because it's not what I'm doing, right? But that's their perspective. But for me, I feel like if I go down a path and I'm walking down this path and there's a bunch of lions and I like barely escape the lions and I make it out, and then there's someone going to walk down that same path. I don't want to tell them about the lions because they'll feel bad and get scared if I tell them. To me, it's not logical.
You have the best analogies. I love it. What?
It makes no sense. Like, yeah, you're right. It's going to scare them. They're like, oh, holy shit, there's lions. But do we let them just go?
No, you do not.
No, you do not. You say, hey, I hate to break the news, but if you stay on this path, this can happen to you. But
absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else on this? That was great. Emily.
I went, yes. So
yes, and.
Okay, to what Catherine said and I think sometimes, okay, so as an Instagram coach, one of the things I do tell my clients is you should intentionally sometimes ruffle feathers to create conversation. Now here's like the caveat I always give. You can stand in what you believe as a business owner, as a human, whatever, your values, your ethics, your perspective, your professional opinion, without degrading others. So you can share what you believe and why you believe it without like outright degrading others. Now, as Debbie mentioned, we're all human and we see things on the internet and it might hurt us. And so we take it personally and then we lash out. But I think it's really important that if there's something you believe in, again, as a person or a business owner or both, the values and ethics of who you are, what you do, what you will stand for and what you won't, you can say those things and do it in a way that does not degrade others and stand in your beliefs, your values, your ethics. And I think that's really important more than ever now. I think it's always been important. And I think, like Kaylee mentioned, and just like in general, this topic of what we're talking about, it's very easy behind a keyboard when you're not in a space with someone to be mean or nasty or negative. And that can make us shirk away from really sharing the important things that really do magnetize people to us. You can do that without degrading other people and what they believe. You can stand in what you believe and hold that space for yourself.
I love that.
You will draw people in.
And I am going to do a little caveat on top of that. There will still be people offended.
100%. People will still be offended and they'll tell you about it. And you can say to them, I understand. I do understand, because you have obviously a lived experience that is different, whatever that might be. You don't have to respond. You can respond and you can say, I understand that's your experience. This is mine. And this is where I stand. And I mean, no disrespect to you. This is just my stance on this.
Yeah. Like you could literally be like, you need 2 hands to wash dishes. And then there will be somebody on there that be like, what about those that don't have 2 hands? That's like a real thing. And they'll go a whole paragraph. So just be mindful, like everything that Emily said, yes. And no matter how careful and words matter you are, there will still be somebody that's like, what about? And then that's when you take into consideration what we talked about here.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where you, like Kaylee said, like was mentioned multiple times, like that's where you take into account the lived experience of others that you might not even think about or know.
Yep.
And it's also an opportunity for you to be in your self-confidence of, this is what I believe though. Yeah. That from my experience, my perspective, this is what I believe. And maybe somebody brings something up that you're like, you know what? Thank you. I had literally never thought about it from that perspective. And that gives me a different way to view it. So I appreciate you showing up and sharing that. There's so much opportunity when we're not lukewarm about who we are, what we believe, what we stand for, when we can really stand in it in a way that is as thoughtful as possible in the delivery.
Yeah.
That's important.
That's great. Catherine said, others can share their perspective and you can share yours without ever degrading and devaluing another human soul. Absolutely. So I really like where this conversation is heading, because a lot of times what happens, and I hear this often as far as women in business who are just like, they just can't with the social media. Just there's so much polarization. It's given them a headache. They just, can't anymore. And you hear about individuals that just say, I just turned it off. I've been not on the internet for a few days, a few weeks, a few months. I've heard all kinds of things. Some will just go off one platform, right? Some will just turn off all notifications. Some people just go cold turkey off the internet. Debbie brought a very good article here by Mark Hyman, which we've done quite a bit with Mark Hyman over the last couple podcasts here. Debbie, you want to read this? This is so good.
Yeah. A new study found that when adults blocked internet access on their smartphones for just 2 weeks, 91% improved their attention span, mental health, or overall well-being. Your brain adapts quickly when you change the inputs.
Yeah. So he did this with 467 adults, and he asked the participants to block the mobile internet access on their phones. So not all internet, just their phones, because that's literally, we're just constantly getting pulled towards our phones. They could still text, they could still make calls, but no browsing, no social media, and no app-based feeds. They found that 91% of participants improved on at least one measure of sustained attention, mental health, or overall well-being. Attention improved to a degree comparable to reversing roughly a decade of typical age-relating decline. Dude, when I read that, I was like, what? First of all, what does that even mean? Why does that sound so scary? So Debbie's going to dive into maybe what that actually means. When the constant pull of mobile internet is reduced, cognitive and emotional systems recalibrate. The brain adapts to what it repeatedly experiences. The adaptability is not weakness. It is neuroplasticity, which Debbie has talked about that a few times. And it works in both directions. Lady, I am going to say, Debbie's going to dive into this a little bit more, and then we're going to open it up. But I just want to say, what we're doing here, Mondays at 3 p.m., the panel that we're doing here, there is so much info. There is so much information that's constantly being thrown at us. And what we're doing here on Mondays at 3 p.m., the whole reason for this is to get it so that women in business are talking to women in business. There's so much out there. And so what we're really doing is like, what are the things that we see as important? What are some things that we're really acknowledging right now that the women in business need to be aware of, to be able to help them move forward with their business and their family, right? Because we're not just business owners. We're dealing with so much. We have ailing parents. A lot of us, we're at that age now. Our parents are getting older. Our children are getting older. Some of us are been with our spouses for a really long time. We're in and out of possibly divorce, maybe remarrying possibly. There's so much going on in our own lives. So what we're doing here is we're saying, hey, listen, this is something that you might want to pay attention to. Right? And then giving you an overall thought process on why you need to be paying attention to that versus just diving in just all the time with all the social media and getting pulled in 17 different directions. All right. Debbie, would love your intake on this. Your input on this is a great subject to bring up.
Yeah, this is the part that I really wanted to highlight is as business women, we're doing all the things.
Yeah.
We're busy, right? There's so much that we have to do. That to highlight what if we put aside the things we don't have. Oh, that's cute. Oh, not this calling me out on my phone, SM addiction, right? But so what I loved about the topic was the brain heals itself. And that constant stimulation, it degrades the brain. Yep. And I love the idea. I tried this. It was incredibly challenging for the first 3 days.
You took it, you just cut off the phone.
The only thing I did was work. That was it. Everything else I turned off all my medication and I didn't go on it. The first night I felt like pricks almost. Like I kept, what am I doing? like what do I do? What do I do? And I had to figure out what the hell I was going to do that night. Like, what do you do if you're not scrolling on the phone for 30 minutes, for an hour? And it was the best thing I ever did for myself.
Wow.
And so that's the highlight of this conversation is why I wanted to bring it up is as business women, I hear it all the time in the women that I work with as a health coach for business women. I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired. I'm so overwhelmed. And I just like to highlight that the business part, we got to do. We got to run our businesses. Yeah. And there's, of course, things we can do to help support our health in that way. But there's other areas like getting off of the just random scrolling that could greatly really impact how you show up in your day-to-day life. And it's such a big deal.
Yeah. One of the things I did before Emily jumps in here is probably about 2 years ago, I turned off all notifications on my phone.
Same.
The only notification, even my text, the only notification that comes through is my calls. That's it. All of them are turned off, completely off, which sometimes is why I get text messages and they're piled up and then I don't fucking answer them for a really long fucking time. Sorry, Emily, which she does the same thing to me. So, but that's why, it's because it's not dinging. Because this is the thing, you answer it and then you put it down, and then Facebook, and then you put it down, and then it's Instagram, and you put it down, and then it's a text, and it's your mom, and then it's So all I allow is calls, and nobody fucking calls anymore. Nobody calls anymore. So the phone just stays black. It's great. Emily.
I love that. Okay. I love this conversation. So yes, I would say turn off your notifications unless, like I keep some of mine on because I have a kid in school and there's like certain, but yes, turn off, especially social media, turn off those notifications. You don't need that. That's first. But so the study that was referenced here, I went and looked it up because my background is in lots of research in the science field and community health. And I love to actually read articles to get a deeper understanding. And here's what I loved about this. So the intervention did not just improve mental health, but the analysis suggests that these improvements can be partially explained by the intervention's impact on how people spent their time. When people did not have access to mobile internet, they spent more time socializing in person, exercising, and being in nature. And I think, there's so much to say about this. One thing we talked about at the retreat last year that we'll talk about this year, and that I talked to my clients about, and that I built into the programming of the chat bot that I created, is you have to have time to hear your own thoughts.
Yep.
Especially as a business owner, you have to have some actual downtime for creativity to come to you, for ideas to land with you. If all we're doing is consuming what other people have done or are doing, there's no boring downtime for us to hear our own thoughts. And the socialization piece, I think we forget that in the wellness wheel, health is more than what you eat and how you move your body. It's so much more than what you eat and how you move your body. And one of the big parts of wellness is socialization. As Sabrina already said, community and the importance of community. And we get so inundated with everything. And I'm no different. I'm the same. I have a 7-year-old. I'm the default parent. I'm exhausted by 5 p.m. I'm ready to be in my jammies. I don't want to go out. I want to chill out for the evening. But when I do choose to socialize, to go to book club or go have dinner with a girlfriend, the way it invigorates me, the way it opens up new channels of thinking and new ideas and new creativity, we cannot downplay the importance of setting time aside to be alone with our thoughts, to be with friends, and to go outside and move our bodies. I mean, we could talk all day about the research of what happens when you just go outside to move your body. Just go on a 30-minute walk a day. Start with 15 minutes a day. Outside, if it's safe and accessible for you to do so, how that can start to change so many aspects of your health, your cognitive function, and decrease chronic disease and illness risk. I mean, there's just so many. I love this conversation. I think it's so important in so many ways. Build community, build time for yourself, have time for quiet thought and creativity, read some books. I'm saying that as someone who struggles to read books at this stage of my life. I'm so tired by the evening that I open a book and I start to fall asleep.
Immediately.
Even 5 minutes worth.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm also really paying attention to it, the fact that it's emphasizing the phone. A lot of it is just the constant grabbing, kind of like what Debbie said, right? Constantly just grabbing towards the thing. That doesn't happen so much when we're on our computers. We're on our computers a lot of times we're working, right? We're actually working. Like I consider my computer my work and my phone my play. And a lot of us are similar ways. So if we can gain some control over that phone, even if it's something as simple as, I know a lot of people, I know people that have an app on their phone that like, or maybe it's the settings on the phone where they cannot enter anything past like 7 or 8. I also know a woman in my community, actually, she allows herself 1 hour, I think, of social media time per day. So like all of her socials are connected to a thing and it actually counts for her. So once she's at an hour, it just shuts them all down. She can't even access it. Like little kid stuff. She has it on herself. And it helps her control, you know, how much time and energy is going towards that thing of whatever that is. Definitely something to look into, definitely something to be mindful of, and definitely something to be mindful of, not only for ourselves, but our entire family, right? Our entire family. When we talk about leadership within our communities, right? Like I talk a lot about the importance of a woman in leadership, right? It's a lot of what we cover in H Club. Her Nation Global is all about this, women stepping into leadership. That means your family too. When we say leadership, it's not just business. You're leading your family. And I'm sure Debbie would agree with this. The woman, a lot of times is guiding the health for the entire family more so than anybody else. So knowing stuff like this, right? Implementing, this is a what do you call it, Debbie? What is your inner empire and outer empire?
Exactly.
Right? Debbie runs inner empire, and she talks a lot about the difference between the inner and outer empire. There's an empire in your home, and how is that run? You know, what is the operations within your home that are making it so that it is a fully functioning area?
Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. There's just something else about this that I thought about.
Yeah.
That sense of we think we have to answer everyone right this second. Immediately. Someone emails. Anyone that knows me, good chance you're not going to get anything for about a day, maybe 2. Because I'm not jumping for every email that comes through.
Same.
And also, when I email someone at night, I schedule it for the following morning because I want to be mindful that I want to support them in trying to help them not get on an email at 8 o'clock at night. Right. So if I'm going to do a client note at night or something, I just schedule it for the following day. But that sense that we feel like we have to be always on call in every moment of every day. Next year, I'll be 60 years old. And back in the day, we used to have a phone on the wall and we used to walk out of the house without a phone and we were okay.
Oh,
we made it. So I think that sense that you have to be on call in up and going and available to everybody at all times in every moment, that's stressful.
Yeah.
Walk away from it.
Agree. Catherine is asking a question, and what's coming up for me with this question is, not that it's answering the question, what's coming up for me is I find silence when I'm driving. So there was someone in my life not too long ago who used to be like, they get into my car and radio would be off, driving, silence, and they're like, music, like just driving silence. And sometimes I do listen to a podcast too. I very rarely listen to music anymore, and not to shame people who listen to music. This is just the way that I'm doing my life. It's the way that I'm doing my life. My driving is very silent a lot of times because that's my thinking time. No external noise influencing the creativity within my head. This is why they say showers are a lot of times where these epiphanies come in. It's not because it's the shower. It's because it's the only time when there's motherfucking silence for a lot of individuals. So I implemented that into my vehicle and the same exact thing happens. So Catherine said, I've heard so many people say that they are scared to be alone with their own thoughts. Dude, I know so many people like this. They need constant constant activity just going at them. And if there's silence, and they're finding noise. It's crazy. What is some ways they can be encouraged to try this? Oh, well, I just kind of gave one example, the creativity. And Catherine, I don't know if this is for you or not, but dude, I can't even imagine inside your brain. Catherine writes a lot on fantasy. Let me pull her up here. I highly recommend you to follow her. She writes a lot of fantasy. She is a brilliant woman. And the creativity that's probably coming out of this woman is probably insanity. So imagine if she had some time, some silent time to be able to sit and create entire worlds of fantasy. Who knows? Anything on this, ladies?
I can add something to this because
Remember,
that was
we don't know
very.
if she's asking. I just want to. We don't know if she's asking for herself or someone else.
Okay.
So let's be mindful of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to share my own experience actually with what she's asking, because I found before I started doing mindset work, I was the person who would fill every single nook and cranny of my life with something, and COVID forced me to not do that. Luckily, I'd found mindset work and was doing a lot of like inner work, and I realized the reason I was afraid to be alone, or afraid to be alone with my own thoughts, was this is my own experience. So I don't want it to relate to Catherine's story at all. I didn't like myself very much. I had very low self-worth. I didn't have a really positive inner dialogue. So when I was alone with my thoughts were not serving me. They were constantly bringing myself down. So for me, becoming aware of this and becoming aware of how to transform those thoughts and transform my identity, which is a lot of the work, which is essentially the work that I do now, that allowed me to give myself the space to just be with my own thoughts and to be okay with it, and to understand even the negative self-talk that comes up, where that comes from, and just understand it more, and to be more objective with it, so that I can identify it as awareness and places that I get to change and get to grow and get to start to shift that dialogue. Now that I'm still working on that. I've been working on this for like 6.5, almost 7 years now. So it is a practice, but I think it is that awareness of understanding, for me anyway, personally, why I was so afraid to be alone with my own thoughts, or why I was so afraid to even be alone, and where that came from, and how I started to shift that story. Because the biggest thing that I find in myself and in a lot of people that I support is, it's not like the being alone in our own thoughts thing that's the issue. It's what's the idea behind that? What's the belief that I hold about myself that's causing that friction, and then starting to kind of work on that belief. But that's my own experience, and I can totally relate, because I spent most of my life there.
Anybody else? Thank you, Kaylee.
Yeah. The internal dialogue is one of the 12 branches that I talk about. And what will happen with the women that I work with a lot is they're very busy, and they're just like we've talking. They want to keep every little spot, everything open and busy, and they don't want that quiet time. And what happens is, because just like what Kaylee's saying, is that internal dialogue can be very, very cruel.
Yeah. And
when we start playing with the story behind that dialogue, that's when everything can shift. We start to look at the story behind it. I was so cruel to myself for so many years. And first, I didn't know that I was, until I stopped and was like, wait a minute, let me start exploring this. Like, what do I say to myself? And I couldn't believe it. I was in shock and awe of what I actually said to myself. And then I decided, I'm so funny. I'm like, okay, what I'm going to do is, every time I say something, I'm going to stop and I'm going to change that dialogue. I'm going to change the dialogue. Okay. Like after 7 minutes, and I had to do that 77,000 times, I was like, okay, maybe I'll just do like 1 or 2 a day. We'll start with that. So I think that's what we want to do, is the message maybe is, be really gentle and kind with yourself. Seek support. And, I'm not a therapist. So, a lot of times I will refer my women out to when there's a true struggle in that area. I can help with other spots of it. But if you're really struggling in that area and you can't get alone because of the terror and the fear of being alone, seek help. Be really brave. And I know it takes a lot of bravery. I was in counseling for 5 years. It took a long time for me to get out of that dark place. And it was all just childhood traumas. But to take those steps and that you're worthy of it and you're valuable enough to step out there and get that help because it's important.
Yeah. Any advice as before we move on to our next subject, any advice on how, what is the baby step, right? Like, it's supposed to go, like we're saying, go cold turkey for 2 weeks off your phone. I mean, that's a little much, right? So what would be like a baby step for individuals that are actually really dealing with this? I mean, as far as like not wanting to be in silence, what would be a baby step? Kaylee, I know you had something to say, but if you have anything to add to that too, that'd be great.
Oh, I can add to that for sure. Like one step, one thing at a time, right? I think we have this habit of looking at the whole staircase instead of just looking at the first step that we have to take. So I think the first thing is just is noticing. The other thing too, and this is actually like a lot harder. A lot harder to do, and for a lot of people. And I think this is a missing piece for so many people. So I want to validate anyone who is listening to this, who's like, I have that negative self-talk. I don't know what to do. It's scary. It's alone. Like, you are not alone. I think Debbie and I just shared our stories. We've had that. I'm sure Sabrina and Emily have their own stories too. And I'm sure if 1,000 people, 1,000 women are listening to this, 999 of them also do, or 1,000, right? Like, that one person's just not going to admit it. So you're not alone in that. Self-compassion is the missing piece that so many people don't have. And it's like, so how do I practice self-compassion if I didn't have any self-compassion for most of my life? How do I practice that? And it's just like that one positive word you can say about yourself at a time, like one thing. So you're not trying to change your whole inner dialogue. It's just like focus. It's like shifting that. So what is if it is so negative, what is one thing that you do value about yourself? And just start like focusing on that one thing. And when you focus on that more, it'll grow, and you'll be able to see that in different areas of your life. I have this one tool that I want to offer, and it changed my life, and I offer it all the time. And it's starting to celebrate our wins and our accomplishments. And this doesn't mean like your milestones that you hit. It's like every day you start to look for, I started out with 3 things. That was my thing. I usually get people just start out with one thing. Like, I want you to, at the end of the day, to acknowledge yourself for one thing that you accomplished today. It doesn't have to be this big thing. Nothing is big or small. It's only our thinking that makes it so. So sometimes at the beginning, this was really, really hard for me. My acknowledgement was, I made my bed this morning. I went for a walk. Like, these things that maybe in the grand scheme of things don't seem like a big accomplishment, but I started to focus on, what do I want to celebrate? What do I want to acknowledge in myself today? And it was hard to find, but the more I practiced that, because everything is a practice, the more I was able to find those things. And that's where, for me, that was where my confidence and my self-worth really started to shift. So that's a tool I'd like to share today.
Love that. Great feedback. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Rachel Blog is messaging. She missed our mastermind this morning. Miss you too, Rachel. And I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but the mastermind was mother effing awesome today. It was so good. I did such a good job. A little pat on my back. So yeah, we missed you too, Rachel, and excited to see you soon. All right. I want to take everything that we have talked about up to this point and talk about the importance of being around individuals who just get it, right? If you've been listening to this and you're just resonating, you're like, dude, she gets me. Kaylee gets me. Debbie gets me. Emily gets me. Sabrina this is community, right? This is you starting to realize the importance of a community, connecting with the Kayleys of the world, connecting with the Debbies, connecting with the Emilys of the world, getting individuals close to you, right? That raise you up, that get you and your life and your experiences and where you are going in the world. I run a community called H Club, or Her Nation Global, but the business aspect is H Club, and we get together and we mastermind, we network, we do sales workshops, business workshops, women in business coming together to leverage each other's connections, knowledge, resources, so we can rise together. And this last little tidbit, I'm going to tell a backstory to this. Emily, I'm calling you out, girl. So Emily last night, so I try to get this information to the ladies for this panel a little bit before we're about to go live. So Emily jumped on this. I didn't send this to them at 9:00 at night, mind you. But anyway, she starts messaging me late at night with this video that I'm about to show you. And she's like, is this the right video? Like, what are we doing looking at Frenchie bulldogs in the fucking snow right now? But what I want you to be mindful of is the pack, the dog pack together, running around, right? Camaraderie, team, having fun, and then not so much with the team. So let me show this to you. It's very quick, but so cute. I'm gonna watch it twice in a row because it's just so cute. I love it. Here we go. I just love it so much. I can just watch this over and over again. I just feel the power of community, right? Like when I think of my H Club ladies, like this is what I imagine, right? We're just together in the fucking muck of it, in the snow, just we're freezing and we're running and we're jumping and we're moving and we're grooving and we're together and we're rough. This is what I imagine. And when you're doing things by yourself, right? You're just like, what the fuck am I doing out here? It's motherfucking cold. Where are my homies at? And I'm relating this to business because I run a community for business owners, but this is all community, right? You like to knit, you like to make Mexican food, you like to dance, join a community. I would love to open this up as we're kind of closing out here, ladies, the importance of community, what are your thoughts? And what are some communities that you're in, business or personal, that you're just like, yes, community, yes. Who wants to go first? Kaylee.
I can go first because first of all, I have 2 French bulldogs. They are like litter mates, so they have been together their entire lives. And I concur because they've formed a community. Like they're going to be 11 in May, and like one of my biggest fears is they won't know what to do without each other, right? Oh. So, but they actually like because they're together, because they've formed this community, because they have like their own little mastermind about how to get food from the kids is, I swear, that's the only conversation that they do have. They work together. So like, I love this. They're always together. They're always working together. They're creating this, but it's so funny because it is a community. It is a sense of community. And I think like even our last conversation about like self-doubt and those thoughts, one of the things I love about communities the most is the validation of like, you're not alone. Like entrepreneurship can be such a lonely journey, especially like when you're starting out and you are, you're a solopreneur, you're wearing all the hats, you're trying to figure it all out. Like there can be a lot of dark nights of the soul on that journey. So you want to be able to be in communities where just people get it or have done it or are like, yeah, that's normal. Like you're not unique in these doubts. You're not unique in these fears. Because I think sometimes we feel like, especially, let's go back to the social media conversation. We look at everyone's highlight reels. And then if our life doesn't look like their highlight reels yet, we forget that like, there is this behind the scenes and we're not seeing the full picture. But when you're in a community and you're having these discussions, you're validated and you are reminded that you're not alone and people can share how they overcame some of these things, like the conversations that we're having today. So you can move forward. Like community, I think it really does shorten the gap between where you are and where you want to go because of the conversations that you're having. And just not, I'm in a lot of communities and sometimes I still feel quite alone and in the business. So it's like, it can still happen, but at least I know where I can go and I have people I can reach out to. And that would be, if you join a community, like join Sabrina's Facebook group's amazing. Like there's so many amazing people in there connecting and so many different ways that you can connect with like-minded people. And like, yeah, I like the idea too of it's not all about business. Like, join communities about the hobbies that you like to do. Like, we need to have more fun in our lives and in our businesses, like infuse more fun. So what do you like to do? And find some other people who like to do it and just go do it.
Yeah. There's a woman who's in our Facebook group. I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but she just started taking dance lessons. So now in her Facebook feed, you see every once in a while she's like doing the salsa, and I'm just like, let's fucking go. I just love that. I love that she's sharing that too. Anybody else, Debbie?
Yeah, one, we're going to shout out to Her Nation, because I was on that call today, and it's just incredible to be able to talk about things that the women get it. It is just comforting. And I belong to a group of women. We're called the Chick Chat Girls, and there's 6 of us, and they're in their 70s and 80s. And so it's an incredible, we meet monthly. And I walked in last week, and they said, I walked in the door, and the one stands up and she starts clapping her hands, and she said, "We're celebrating you today." And I'm like, what's happening? She said, "Your birthday is March 23rd. It's your birthday. So we're celebrating your birthday." I'm a woman who has been betrayed by women from a very young age.
Yeah.
And so to trust women has always been it's something that I've kind of had to work towards and grown in. And to be able to be in a group of women where you can speak and talk and about anything you want to talk about and feel seen and cared about and loved, it's the most powerful thing in the world. And top off, it's storytelling. You're telling each other stories, which helps cognitive your mind. It's so powerful. And it takes me a minute to bond. But once I do bond, you're mine and and I am yours. And that's how this group of women have become. It's so powerful. And when we said, what's a baby step to get where you're alone and you're being safe to be alone with your thoughts, sharing with someone that you care about and that's safe makes it easier than to walk away from that conversation and feel a little bit safer to hear it in your own mind.
Great feedback. Absolutely. To kind of piggyback on that, Emily can attest to this. The retreat that we run last year, day 1, we hadn't even started yet. Just like day 1, we did get there. We had this opening ceremony that wasn't, not the word ceremony, but there's no candles. Just like meeting, right? Within, I don't want to exaggerate, but I'm going to say within the hour, somebody just bolted out like, I already got my money's worth. Literally. She's just like, we haven't even started. We're just like intros. But to go along with Debbie said, right, when you're in and amongst individuals that are in the similar field as you, and you start to share stories, that's what we were doing. It's just kind of like background story, where are you at, all that stuff. The gates just open of just like, let's do this, let's bond, let's grow, let's share, let's go. And to Debbie's point, right, it can happen quickly, but it's allowing it to happen. It's allowing it to happen and being in a safe space where people get you, understand you, similar mindset, similar journey as you. And when you can consciously, right, Kaylee was talking about, it doesn't have to just be business, it can be personal. When you're consciously setting yourself up to be in and amongst powerful people who are doing something similar to you on a similar journey, next level. Emily, anything to add?
I mean, I have so many things. I have so many, like, trying to decide what I want to say about community. I think, like most people, I have a therapist. I worked through a lot of things. I also had a great childhood. But when I think back on, like, I've always had communities. I think this is why church becomes something that people really cling to, because of the community aspect, not even necessarily like what they're learning or what they believe, but the connection that happens with community. I have always had communities, and I'm also, I think, an abnormal human in that I want to be as vulnerable as possible. As soon as I meet you, I'm like, oh my God, I'm an open door. Let me tell you everything, which I know is not everyone's situation. But I think when you're in spaces, in community with people who feel safe enough to be vulnerable, it shows you, them, whoever, who has never felt that safety. Okay, this is a place where I can lean in a little. Maybe I'm not ready to share. I think of, I run a child loss support group that I knew I needed after we lost our child. I knew I needed a community with other mothers who had had a similar experience. And sure enough, that space continues to be, not just for me, but for everyone who comes. We hear it all the time. Thank you for creating this space. I needed this so I didn't feel alone. And it's the same in business. It's the same in loss. It's the same in celebration. No matter what part of your life feels like you should celebrate or like you don't want to be alone with it, you can find a community where you are held and seen and heard and can have that space and hopefully safe. I would say, like, make sure you find a community where safety and confidentiality is actually important, depending on what the topic is. I run a group fitness. I'm also a group fitness instructor using my like previous educational background, and that community, that is a space where like women come and show up and feel vulnerable and connected. I'm close friends with those women, not because I know them in great depth outside. I've like gotten to know them, but because we show up and we work out together and we're doing something similar and we have similar frustrations of like, have to wake up before the kids, have to get this done before the day starts.
Yep.
Just build community. And to start with, you might not be able to leave your house. You might not be able to leave. Everybody's circumstances are different. So there are lots of online community spaces. There are lots of free spaces. There are lots of, so as mentioned, Sabrina has a Facebook group that's free. So if you're a business owner, you can start there, start in that space, be active in that space. Just find a place where you resonate with, again, and this is why it's important that you as a business owner speak about what you value, what you believe, your ethics and all that, so that the right people can find you and know that and feel called in to that space and the community you've created, whatever that looks like. I could just, the last thing I'll say that was mentioned about the retreat, literally the first training was about how to like sit with your thoughts and quiet. There's like more to it, but that's how the training kind of went. And then we went around and did introductions. And literally the second person, there were 6 women, the second person like unloaded personal stuff. She like, here's what I do for business, blah, blah, blah. Unloaded lots of personal stuff. Yeah. And then every single woman after her was like, me too. And here's this, and here's my childhood trauma. And here's how I was traumatized in my divorce and how my kid doesn't live it literally in the first hour. And that's when there was the conversation of like, oh my God, but I already got my money's worth. Because when you feel like you're held, and it's a safe space and you have like a basic understanding of the people around you, you're ready to take the armor off.
Yeah. And I will say, not to gloat for Emily or I, but both of us are really good at holding space for that. And both of us have been through a lot of darkness, right? So we understand the importance of that. And we both share our story openly. So I think that helps a lot too. You know, we're very vulnerable about our stories. Emily just shared some of hers right here, which I was hoping she would. I'm so glad she did. Just to showcase, right? To showcase the importance of community through hard things, through fun things, right? It's not just dance and salsa. It's also through hard things, really dark things. It's important to have some sort of a community in and around you. And that is one thing that I do hold dear about Emily. You know, Emily and I actually met through her story. She came onto my podcast fucking years ago. I think she was one of the first like 15 people to be on my podcast and shared openly. I didn't know her. She literally was just a stranger. She came on, she shared her story. And her story, I cried more on that podcast than like any other podcast that I had been on, because it was she told the story very openly, very vulnerably. And that was one of the very first connections I had with her, because I also share a lot of my story, or most of my story, very openly and very honestly within just two completely different stories, no relation whatsoever in any context, but sharing openly. And I think because both of us are open to that, women do feel comfortable, sharing. So anyways, this has been absolutely fabulous. Thank you, ladies, for showing up, for sharing. Closing thoughts before we wrap up. Kaylee, closing thoughts. What's coming up for you? How do you appreciate all this?
Well, this is my first panel, and this was a blast. I really enjoyed this conversation. I think we could have gone
Cool.
for like 5 more hours, right?
You said that every time.
So thank you for having me. One thing I wanted to add is like, if you are at the stage in your business where you don't quite have that belief in yourself, like borrow ours, because we've all been a part of these communities. We've all been through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, of just being a woman in entrepreneurship, of wearing all of the hats, of trauma, of all of the things. And, if sometimes you're having that doubt, like just know that, you got a group of ladies here who just believe in you to your core. So borrow ours until you inherit your own.
Love that. Absolutely. Debbie, closing thoughts.
Yeah, similar thing. I lived most of my life doing it on my own. And I've only in the last few years reached out and created community and learning to trust. And it was a belief system that I had. It wasn't real. So I lived for so many years in a space that wasn't real. It wasn't true. It wasn't reality. It was just my own reality. And that it doesn't mean be good or bad, and don't judge yourself, just allow yourself to explore, get curious. Is it possible? Is it possible that I might be able to reach out and find a community that fits me? And it will be a beautiful yes. You might have to try a couple places though, just FYI.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. Yes. You might have to try a couple places. Yes. Emily, closing thoughts.
I just want to wrap up by saying curiosity is maybe the most important leadership skill for yourself and as you work in your business. Curious about your own internal journey, curious about the journey you have as a business owner and what you create and how you put it out there. But when it comes to like being quiet with your own thoughts, being curious, why don't I like being alone with my own thoughts? And maybe, like was mentioned, you need a mental health professional to help you dive deeper into that. Maybe there's surface level work you can do with a mindset coach or a business coach, but you have to be curious in order to open doors. So make sure that is your top leadership skill for yourself and everything you do in your business.
Yeah. So good. And curiosity is what's going to open that possibility of community, right? Of cutting off the internet on your phone, lessening the notifications, whatever it is. It's just getting curious, like, they actually made a good point. Let me try that. Let me do my version of that. So important. And just a reminder, we don't want to be the little Frenchie all by himself. You don't want to be that Frenchie out there all by themselves. That was so sad. Oh, just all by themselves. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that in any aspect of our life. And now more than ever, there are so many different ways to build community, have community, be in community. It can be in person, can be virtually, right? There's so many meetups, Eventbrites. There's so many ways to find your people. Find people who are doing what you're doing, thinking the way you're thinking, and want to hold space for you. All right, ladies, this is a wrap. Thank you so much for being here. I think one of the biggest takeaways is perspective. When you choose to show up publicly, whether in business, leadership, or simply sharing your voice, not everyone is going to applaud it, but often the people who spend time criticizing from behind a screen are not the ones building, creating, or moving forward themselves. The important thing is to stay focused on your path and not let outside noise dictate your direction. We also talked about something that really makes you think about life would look like if the internet disappeared, a reminder of how dependent we've become on constant noise, constant connection, constant information, constant validation. Cut that out, cut that out your own way, whatever that looks like for you, little baby steps. Find some silence. We really covered some great reasons to find some silence in your life so you can open up some creativity in your world. And humans were never built to live life alone. So get into community. Community creates resilience, perspective, and support in the ways that no algorithm or platform ever could. Thank you so much for spending this Monday with us. We're here every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern. These panels exist because women in business They deserve real discussions, real perspectives, and real support. As I always say, ladies, do something awesome today.